Johnny here, and today we're going to be talking about another game that was shown at the Game Awards 2024, being Mafia: The Old Country. Now, we've talked about multiple games from the Game Awards, being, the Capcom games, Onimusha and Okami. We've talked about Intergalactic. We've talked about Turok. I know it's been a few days since we talked about the last one, but I've just been playing a bunch of games, and I've been doing so much, and I just had some personal things happen, and so it's just been a minute, but we're coming back. I have a bunch more games that we're going to be talking about, and the one we're going to talk about today is Mafia: The Old Country, man. This is a series that I have a lot of respect for. Also, I really enjoy because I have played one of them, being Mafia 1 Definitive Edition, and I thought it was absolutely awesome. I really loved it. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but if you guys love video games, consider subscribing, sharing with your friends. Really do appreciate all the support you guys give me. It doesn't matter what you love: Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third-party, PC, VR, indie, whatever it may be. We talk about video games daily on the channel, and I appreciate all the support you guys give me, especially the support in this video right here. But let's get talking about Mafia: The Old Country. Now, like I just said, I've played with the first Mafia game, Mafia Definitive Edition, and while it's not one of my favorite games of all time, or while I don't think it has outstanding gameplay or anything, what it does have above a lot, and I mean a lot of other games, is its story. Its story is genuinely one of the best I've ever experienced. Honestly, if I had to make a top 10, maybe top 15 stories in video games, I would put the Mafia games in there, because the story really does carry. One of the big things for me when I played Mafia 1 is I didn't love the game's gameplay or anything, but I was digging the story so much to where I finished the game. But when I finished the game, I wanted more of the story and more of the world, but I didn't want to have to deal with the gameplay. I'll be honest with you. It's not bad gameplay. It's just, do I really want to spend another 20-25 hours beating a game with the same exact combat and stuff? And I was just like, no, I'll just watch some more of the story. And even Mafia 2 and Mafia 3's story is fantastic. But this has always been a franchise where I've been really interested to see come back, and where I've felt like if they take it in the right direction, this game could be genuinely very special. And while it's back. It was announced at Gamescom that Mafia: The Old Country is returning. We didn't know when it was going to come out, or we didn't see any gameplay. We didn't really know anything about the game other than it was going to be like a prequel in a way. But it was announced at Gamescom, and then at the Game Awards recently, last week, we saw the story trailer in a way, which was just a CG trailer. There was no gameplay, unfortunately, from what we know of. Who knows? It might have just been the coolest looking gameplay of all time that's shown in there, but I don't think so. But they showed a bunch, and we got some new information. Also, there was an interview with the game director or the studio head, whatever, it was one of the two, and they answered a bunch of questions and gave us some new details. And so we're going to be talking about Mafia: The Old Country, going into some of that. But let's just talk about how I'm feeling about the game in general. I actually really am digging the whole going a different approach this time around. Obviously, you could have just done Mafia 4 being another city, modernize it a little bit. But I think they're going way back. They're doing a prequel. They're taking it in a different setting. We're in Italy right now. We're in deep Italy right now. And a lot of the character designs, a lot of the world designs, a lot of things that's going on, a lot of the technology is very interesting to me. And I just really like the setting and the vibe that this game is currently setting up. It's very Godfather-esque, and it's very, I don't know, it is that deep, rich, Italian-rooted, mafia-ness, mafioso, if you want to call it. But I just really like what they're going for here. And I'm especially sold because of this trailer, but not specifically what was in the trailer, but what we learned from the trailer and what we learned after the trailer. Number one, we did learn that it is coming out next year, so summer of 2025. Very much looking forward to that. But we do have some new information that I want to go ahead and talk about. So the game takes place in the brutal criminal underworld of 1900s Sicily. So, like I said, we're in deep Italy. So the game is going to be linear, narrative-driven, which will make it a more focused package Mafia game. So right there, honestly, that is the one information that I heard and was like, yep, I'm completely sold on this game. Because if you've played the Mafia games, I've played one of them, and granted I haven't played all of them, but the biggest complaint about the Mafia series is that the story is amazing, the gameplay is just fine, but the open world is the worst part, because it's not like lived in at all. There's not really much to do. It's kind of like empty in a way. It is like a really cheap GTA clone kind of in a way. The open world has always been the worst part of the Mafia games. And for the first time in the series, with Mafia the Old Country, they are taking the open world out. It is now a linear game. And the whole point of that is they want it to be narrative driven, which I feel like most of the Mafia games have been, but obviously with the open world you have to try and incorporate that somehow. But they want it to be a more focused package. Now, to me, this just screams this is going to be super high quality, because like I've been saying all video long, the story is the best part. If you make that pretty much the entirety of the game, you have a W. You have the perfect combination of what Mafia is, what Mafia does so well, and what Mafia fans love. That is how you do it. You take out the thing that Mafia fans hate, and you put more of what the Mafia fans love, and that is the story and less of that open world. Make it linear, which personally, I'm a little bit biased. I prefer linear games over open world games anyway. But specifically for the Mafia franchise, this is the right move. This is absolutely the right move, and I think this could really take the series, take this game specifically to a whole new level. The game will feature dangerous combat systems with high-stakes, grounded stealth, and gunplay mechanics. This is great. This is definitely the one thing when going into this game where I'm going to be very curious how they update and how they up the gameplay from the previous games. Because, like I said, I don't hate the gameplay at all. I think the gameplay is just fine. It is fun in some areas, but for the most part, it's nothing extraordinary or very interesting. It's very generic, I feel like, but it gets the job done. So I'm very curious how they're going to up that. If they're going for a more cinematic approach, I almost feel like they're going to take. It's going to be similar to they explain it here. Feature dangerous combat systems with high stakes and grounded stealth and gunplay mechanics. I almost feel like this is going to be similar to like the Last of Us games, which if that's the case, I can see that fitting with this series very, very well, where it is just super cinematic, where there's not a whole lot of button input, but the animations are super developed, super rich, super like prioritized, and the like feeling of it, when you punch somebody, you want to really feel like you're honestly like hurting your hand in a way, or when you stab somebody, it really feels like that gut stab, like you want the gameplay to complement the whole point of the game, and that is its narrative storytelling. If you have that dark, grounded, realistic, high-stake gameplay, it will complement what is, I'm going to be assuming, a very dark, high-stakes story. And I think that works really, really well. So, in terms of story, we did get some information on that. You play as Enzo, a new original protagonist. And the description is, in a time when skill with a stiletto blade was a deadly asset, a Lupara sawed-off shotgun was a go-to firearm. Murderous vendettas raged for decades, and mafioso patrolled their protection rackets on foot, horseback, or behind the wheel of turn-of-the-century motor cars. So, this is interesting. They're basically explaining the kind of time period we're in, the kind of world you're going to be living in. They say the stiletto blade, which is like the little knife. Sawed-off shotgun. We saw that in the opening or original trailer. There is going to be motor cars, and there's going to be horses, and so there's going to be a variety of stuff, which I really like. Mafia was originally a like GTA clone, so you can like hijack cars, you can like do stuff, you can cause crimes, you can do stuff like that, but it did always have its own flavor, where it was more about the Mafia, the Mafia life, the gang life in a way. About Enzo. Enzo has survived a childhood of indentured labor in Sicily's hellish sulfur mines. So that'd be interesting to explore that backstory. He gains an opportunity to join the powerful Don Torriso crime family to carve out a better life. Swearing that oath means commitment to the Torriso family code of honor, where family takes sacrifice. And we saw in the trailer, he's obviously talking, he's obviously doing a lot of things, he's making a lot of commitments, he's taking a lot of oaths, he's taking on a lot of responsibility. And again, with that gameplay, that's going to feel more grounded, high stake, with the visuals obviously being a massive improvement, and with them focusing more on the narrative and the focus package, I feel like this is going to be a true cinematic experience. I feel like this is going to be a true cinematic experience where, the gameplay may not be the greatest gameplay you've ever felt, but this is going to be one of those games where you want to beat this level. You want to beat this sequence so you can see where the story goes next. And to me, that's some of the best games. Story, in my opinion, has the biggest impact on a game. Gameplay is 100% the most important. Every gamer will always admit that gameplay is the most important thing. But stories sometimes have the biggest impact and definitely have the highest ceiling when it comes to games. And with a game like this, from everything we're hearing, what this game has proposed and set up, I think it can deliver. And from what I played of Mafia 1, I'm very, very excited for this. Let me know in the comments, how are you guys feeling about Mafia the Old Country? I'd really love to know. Do you like the setting and vibe that they're going for? Do you wish they just did a Mafia 4 with the same stuff? Let me know. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the support. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Johnny Moore out.